Hi everyone!
Hi everyone! Great Scott, it's time now for our rendezvous as each evening with dear Mitch.
And
Social distances, okay, fantastic. We are safe. We hope you all are safe.
Welcome on board.
Welcome on board for our rendezvous.
And today, we are a little late. Today we have a lot of things to do. First reminder, you have in my Facebook profile for 30 minutes the auction. So this is the emblem, the Police Valley emblem. If you could show,
of course.
This one.
Do not forget to bid.
Exactly. 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Starting bid 350, which is up, is the winner. The higher price is the winner. So let's bid 30 minutes. And we will receive, as always, Kevin Bosch for a virtual visit of Hill Valley. And today we're visiting the
house of Marty McFly.
Yeah,
wonderful.
House. Yeah. Wow, excellent. Is Marty there? I don't know. We'll see it. And just after, we will welcome, if there is no trouble, because perhaps it could be some technical problems.
He had some issues. He will perhaps.
We will see if we're able to receive Mr. Kevin Pike.
We hope.
So now let's begin. Another thing which is very important. I have changed the banner just there. As you could see, Mitch, Emmett, and this is the address of the Team Fox website from the association. And you have to bid and you have to donate today, because each donation will receive a little gift. We will show you.
We will show later.
And the donation,
the highest
donation will receive an excellent gift, which is Clara's brooch from part 3. It's the exact replica. So be generous. The highest bid, the highest donation in the website just there will win this excellent prize. So, and the other ones we will show they win some prizes also. So welcome to our friend Mr. Kevin Bosch. Up. No Kevin Pike. This is Mr. Kevin Bosch. Exactly. And here he is.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Kevin. How are you today?
Kevin.
Hey.
Hi,
guys.
So what's the location for today? I think it's Marty McFly house, right?
Today we're going to be at Marty's house, 1985 McFly house.
Excellent.
So it's going to be a quick one, because I usually, when it's private residence, I don't like to hang around too much, but I am going to try to show everybody some different things that they don't necessarily see in the movie, or give them a little feel. So we're going to do Marty's house, and then if we have time, we're going to drive over to the intersection where its Lion Estates signs were. But there's another little thing I'm going to show you guys that I don't think anybody's ever really seen. I haven't seen it from that point of view, so we're going to check it out. But we're going to start walking here now.
Super. I will put you in full screen to permit people to be able to show you, to see you up better. And
so this is the street, and again, this is a residential street, so I'm trying not to be too intrusive. So we're just gonna kind of do like a walk by, but this is the street from the movie, and I like to always imagine, like, you see these folks here, they're hanging out. I try to imagine what it would be like to live in Marty's neighborhood, just walking around.
So was it the plan used for the last sequence of the movie, this side of the street?
Yeah, this is the side that we see at the end of the movie when the car blasts off. So you can kind of tell by the iconic trees, and we'll drive down this way later too.
Okay.
But here we're coming up. So the way you spot Marty's house more than anything is the power lines.
Yeah, we are.
And this is the reason, I'm not sure if a lot of people know, the reason this house is chosen in particular was the power lines. They wanted to have that feeling of like electricity, of power. It's also very different. In the 50s, a lot of houses weren't built around places that had the high tension power lines. So that's kind of like one of the iconic things about it. You can always spot it by those high tension lines. This house luckily hasn't changed too much. The homeowners have kept it the same. It's the same homeowners from when the movie was filmed. It's probably one of the reasons why they haven't sold it, because to them, the house, it's their family home. Here's the house next door. These neighbors are also very nice. This family's very nice. They have, some people have spread bad rumors and stuff about them because some people like to come here and get on their property, knock on their door and take, inappropriate pictures way too close to their property. We usually tell fans to stay in the sidewalk. We'll go up here a little later, but not to go on their property, not to bother them, not to knock on their doors. And they've actually been very nice during events. They come out, or they let us come here. They let us do things. It's just the idea of respect. It's still somebody's house. These neighbors are also very nice. There are some behind the scenes footage online that you can find where these neighbors filmed through their windows as they were filming the movie. So yeah, this is also, the address is 9303, which is it's technically Marty's street. I think in the movie, or it's 9303 Lyons Road or Lyons Street. I'm just going to walk a little further down. I always like to imagine just walking in a neighborhood. So this is where Marty would normally be walking if he wanted to go somewhere. Uh-huh. I feel like the line of state signs in the movie would be at the end of this road, because Marty skates down this way.
Ah.
So I always imagine that he turned, that it was there at the end of this street, that's where the signs would be, and that we see him coming down this way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a view of what Marty would have seen during that scene. It's a nice, working class neighborhood. It's very different from the 1955 neighborhood, which is very more upscale, fancier houses. But this is kind of the sort of neighborhood that I grew up in, so I always like coming here because it reminds me of home, or reminds me of what it would have been like. So this is the when Marty first arrives to the house. This is the trajectory. He's skateboarding down this way. Mm-hmm. This is the back of the house. Yeah. Here's the power lines. Here's the back of the house. And we're gonna do a quick. Oh, see, this proves a theory that I had. But here's some Halloween decorations. We're just gonna do a quick walk by the house because we don't want to be too annoying or intrusive. I'm sure they. Oh, sorry, this is the wrong house. Wait, no, this is the right house. I'm so dumb. I'm getting all confused. The other day, I came here with a friend, and I literally drove down the wrong street. I couldn't find the house. But yeah, the same house, the power lines. It looked different to me for a second, but no, it's the same one. I do have Halloween decorations. Everything's pretty much the same color, I believe. Sometimes if I drive by here, the garage is open. It's kind of neat to see that because it's the garage that's used in the movie. There's the gate that Marty goes through and jumps to get to his house.
Yeah.
And does anybody have any questions or any comments right now before I move on from the house?
Okay. I will see some comments. If there is some question, I will send it to you in the screen.
Okay. I'm going to keep going. Now I'm going to try to go down in a little area that I think is kind of a neat thing to check out. Yeah, usually I recommend if anybody comes, pull over, take a quick picture, and then move on, just to not be intrusive. Yeah, are you the homeowner? That was the homeowner. I thought I saw him earlier. I've been to enough events where I kind of recognize the tall gentleman. So when I saw him earlier, I figured he was the homeowner.
Mm-hmm. Incredible.
So this is something I'm going to try to do right now that I've never done before. And I don't know if it's going to work or if anybody's going to say anything. But this whole area behind these houses, they actually, it's underneath these power lines. They can't build houses underneath the power lines. A lot of these are actually gardens or nurseries for plants. And this one, the gate's open, so I'm going to go in and get a nice up close view of the power lines, which I think is one of the more distinctive things about the house. They might tell me I can't come in here, but for now it seems pretty okay. So this is kind of a point of view that we haven't really seen, which is the back of Marty's house. Hopefully it's okay to be in here, but if not, then we'll just make a quick exit. These are pretty big power lines. And this is, again, technically, I always like to think about what happens in the movie. This is, to me, this means that behind Marty's house, there was a nursery, Here are the power lines. Up close. Oh, there's a car coming. And by the back of, and then right here is actually the back of Marty's house, which is kind of a view I've never seen. You guys see it? I don't know if the sun's too bright, but yeah, it's essentially the back of Marty's house right here. Okay. First time I've seen this view. And then here's the power lines, which again I think are one of the more iconic things of the movie. I don't want to get too close because again I don't want it to be a weird thing.
Yeah, very close to the house. Yeah. From the other side, we imagine that the power lines are like.
The power lines aren't right behind his house. The power lines are behind this other people's house. It's just the angle that they filmed it in makes it look like it's right behind Marty's house. But yeah, there you go. I'm gonna leave now just because again I try not to be too weird.
We'll perhaps be able to get some plutonium there, no?
Yeah.
1.21 gigawatts.
You can see this is the power line extend all the way down.
Uh-huh.
You see them a lot in LA. I've seen them in other movies around or other TV shows because they're pretty iconic.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm gonna go back to the car, and I'm gonna just take you guys over to the Line of States intersection. I'm gonna drive by the house again. I'm gonna drive down the street. This is the perfect time if anybody has any questions or wants to bring up anything.
At the moment, people are looking at the locations. They are all amazing. And no, there's no question.
Okay.
You could take the car.
Where is it exactly, this location?
This location is in Arleta, which is, if you're looking at like Central LA, if you look at a map, like Hollywood, this is northwest.
Oh, okay.
And it's pretty far out there. And not that far, but it is like a good 30-minute drive from Central LA, maybe 45-minute drive, maybe like 20 miles from like Hollywood or whatnot.
Okay.
And it's totally, the 1955 houses are all the way in the opposite end. They're on the east side. They're like in Pasadena, and it's a really nice, or South Pasadena. It's kind of a nice old neighborhood. That's where Doc's house is also, that the mansion is. So I do feel like this neighborhood was chosen to show, that the McFlys were a lot more working class, that they weren't, that it wasn't like the most fanciest part of town, even though it's not a bad neighborhood in terms of movie stuff. It's not a bad neighborhood, but it's not like supposed to be like a fancy.
Yeah, we have a little question from Emma. Is that area fairly secure? Fairly what?
What's the question?
Is the area fairly secured? I think she has written secluded, but it must be secured.
What is?
Is the area fairly secured?
Yeah, this area is, in terms of safe, I feel, hold on, let me take my mask off. I feel like this area is pretty safe. But I know there's some people who've come here who don't think it's that safe. I think it's a lot less nice, and it's not a rich or upper class neighborhood. It's like a working class neighborhood. I feel totally safe here, but I did grow up in a neighborhood like this. It is as a Latino, I could say this is a primarily Latino neighborhood, and I know that some people might feel uncomfortable if it's like a lot of like minorities or whatever that is. I feel like this is a pretty safe neighborhood. It's a family place. You see kids, things like that. It's just not a super fancy, rich or wealthy neighborhood. But I feel like you can, if you want to come and visit, you can come and safely visit. You're not gonna feel in danger. It's as safe as any of the other places.
And I just see Emma post a new comment. It was not secured in a safety area. It was secluded.
Oh, secluded.
Secluded. Sorry.
That's okay. So here, I'll get to that. But here
it
is kind of
be a residential area, so I'm not sure that it's secured,
You see here on the left, you see the McFly house here on the left, and then this view that I'm showing you right now is the view of when the car blasts off. So I always like, whenever I drive down this way, I like to picture this. So all this to me is Hill Valley. And there's something about the trees here that are very nice. They're kind of like, they kind of create a canopy. To me, they're also kind of an iconic part of the movie. Not all neighborhoods like this have like the canopy style trees. So that's, if anything, that to me, whenever I drive down this street and I see the trees like that, that brings me into the movie more than almost anything else. To answer the question, if it's secluded, it's not secluded. LA is very big. So even though this is 20 miles away, 30 miles away from like central LA, there's still like a lot of stuff around here. There's still a lot of houses, a lot of commercial stuff. When I take you to the 1955 line of estates, that's secluded. That is like 60 miles away from LA, and that whole area is next to like a prison and farmland and and parks, state parks and stuff like that. But this area is not secluded. This is like any other part of LA. It's pretty dense and compact. Here I am.
Awesome.
Okay, so here, one more little. Just let me know if I'm running out of time. Just one more little stop.
You still have about 10 minutes, Kevin. 5
okay. We might cut it a little short just because there isn't a whole lot. But this here is the line of states intersection. So this is where they had the signs. And there's a bunch of different telltale signs. A lot of these houses and stuff have changed over the years. They have fences and stuff now, but usually the trees and the house themselves look the same. But this is the intersection. Marty comes in. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. In the first scene, the car drives down this way. Marty gets off and skateboards down that way. And to me, the implication is that at the end of the street, that's where the house is, even though it's physically all the way over there. To me, at the end, like half a mile down this way, Marty's house is on the right. I could be wrong, but that's what I kind of always think. I came here the first time I went to the 1955 Line of States location, which I was saying is secluded. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It still looks the way it does in the movie. It was a couple months ago, And on the way back, my friend and I stopped here because she lives near this location, and I just took a picture here.
Okay, very nice. Oh, seems we have a little trouble with Kevin. Perhaps a lack of battery. Great Scott. Great Scott. What happened? We will wait a little. So it was very interesting. I don't know if he is able to come back, but it was very interesting because this location is one of the most known, of course, but he made the visit with different point of view, and it was very interesting to us as a point of view to see where the power lines was exactly just behind the house, etc., etc.
An amazing ballet around the house
in the area, and it was secluded and not secured. Sorry, Emma. Sorry, my French. So I'm not sure. So it's quite this time. So during this time, we could remind that we have still an auction in my Facebook profile. We have yet some bids on to the Elvalais Police emblem. So if you want to win this one, you have still 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Go to my Facebook profile and bid. Now at the moment, I think it's Eric, perhaps, which is the winner. So try to kick off and to go there. So 8 minutes remain to this auction. After that, we will welcome a monster of the Hollywood, of Hollywood, of course. One of the best SFX supervisors.
Name of the SFX,
he has done many movies and he has made a lot of things, and we are very proud to welcome him on board today. But just before, we want to present some things, some raffle, and I have said just before that here, I will put the banner up. Just here, you could see the address of the Team Fox. So it's very important to make donation if you want. If you don't want to bid for the auction, okay, no problem. But if you could do some donation for the Team Fox, it will be very important. So those people who will bid all during all the show, we will give to all the
who will donate.
Who will donate. We will donate some things. For example, these stickers, the radioactive one. Hey, we have a lot of money here. Money from Team Fox.
You're rich.
It's some beefs, dollars.
Beefs money.
So we'll put some money, some dollars. We will put the Cusco flyer, your flyer. We'll put a lot of things. Talking about Kevin Pike, I will put a copy of a storyboard of the DeLorean. So a cool package for each donation tonight. And we have just online Kevin Bosch. So I will put him again in the show just to say goodbye to all the people, right? And just after, we will invite Kevin Pike in less than 5-7 minutes. So now, up, Kevin is right with us, just to say perhaps a little.
Hey guys, sorry, my phone got too hot. It got too hot. It's hot here in LA.
No
and
problem.
It shut down. I'd never seen it. It said, please you can't use it until the temperature. So yeah, too hot. But I hope everybody saw the intersection. That was pretty much it. It's the intersection. You'll see it again later, or you'll see the other version later this week when we go to 1955 Lions Estate. But yeah, there's pretty much nothing else to show you, so I'm gonna leave it there. If not, my phone's gonna die entirely.
The trouble from the direct show. So
yeah. So I hope everybody enjoyed today's short visit. It was short, but I think I got to do something brand new I've never done.
Different point of view. Yes, very interesting. Having the view from the behind of the house to know where the power lines are. Really. So yeah, very interesting, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
See you tomorrow.
See you later. See you in the future.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Kevin. So now, we're waiting 4 or 5 minutes for the bid, but I think probably Eric D'Acosta could be the winner tonight. Wonderful, yeah.
For this nice.
And
let's show it once more.
Yeah,
let's show it once more.
The Hill Valley Police emblem.
That's heavy, you know. That's heavy. What a part of history.
Yeah, a cool piece of history. So you have 3 minutes to be done. Be generous for Team Fox, of course, guys. And I remember that for all donation today, the highest donation during the show on the Team Fox website will win the
bridge from my wife.
For your wife, from Clara. You could see it's very cool.
Yeah,
a good
nice.
replica.
Very cool.
So now I will launch a little teaser from Mr. Kevin Pike, and just after we welcome Mr. Kevin Pike. So just in few seconds. And here, Mr. Kevin Pike.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, guys.
Wow. Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
How are you?
Nice to see you, Emmett.
Very
nice to see you too. And we hope your little issues you had last night was is now absolutely awesome.
It's always something, you know. You live up in the country, anything can go wrong. Mitch knows it's a long ways to get here, and they had an accident down by the freeway, and it knocked out the power for 5 little towns, and we were on the end, so it took a while to get here. But as luck would have it, right at the last minute, everything came on, and I'm glad to be here with both you gentlemen.
Thank you
so much.
You did it, and you are with us, and we're very proud to welcome you on board today. It's very important. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. So we will start that saying that I have a lot of props from you, a lot of paperwork, and the thing which is very interesting, it's when I start to read those paperworks, call sheets, scenarios, etc. You could note that in each scene you see some special effects. From the beginning of the movie to the end, in each scene there is in the call sheet special effect, Kevin Pike, everywhere. So what is a special effect? Because a lot of people imagine that special effect is only blue screen, green screen, and to put an image on it. But in fact, it's more than that. It's working with some builders to build some things very bizarre which are in the blueprints and to make it possible, and then not only to build but to make the SFX to take life on the movie. So it's incredible because you could note that there is SFX in every part of the movie, everywhere. So it's very strange. Could you explain that thing, Kevin?
I sure can. I started in the special mechanical effects area when I started on Jaws with Steven Spielberg and a bunch of great effects guys that taught me a lot of what I still know today. And as we grew through the TV ranks, you get trained on learning carpentry to how to build the sets. And not just the 4 walls, but staircases, spiral staircases, elevator doors, all kinds of work to have a set that they can play in. And then you're in the prop shop, as they call it, and you learn how to build things. You learn how to build breakaway windows and breakaway sash and breakaway metal-looking products, breakaway glass. You learn electronics. You learn fiberglass, resins, all the modeling, all the welding, machining, you learn your craft so that anything that comes in the shop that they can't buy, rent, just get out of the prop house has to be custom made. And you learn how to do that. And you have to learn the dictates of what it's needed in the scene, how it's going to be used. Is it something that gets smashed? How many takes do you need? You learn all of that with a wonderful set of workmen that do their craft and do it well, just as maybe like a factory assembly, and you make them and out they go. Then, of course,
a lot of different domains. A lot of different domains.
Whatever they tell us, it could come from the prop department. It could come from the art department. It could come from the special effects man that's on the show that needs something so that he can operate or do. We do all the electronic lights in the background, things like that. And then you graduate to what is special effects, which is usually all the elements: wind, rain, fire, snow, sleet, hail, dust, all that pyro, all the explosions. That's the strictest classification. But when you run a show, you manage a show, you're a supervisor of a show, you have a crew, and you have to take care of first the company. What's needed on the set? Do you need wet downs? Do you need some rain? Do you need smoke in the background because of the setting? So you always have some live animation that you're doing on the set with the crew of guys that run the company. And in the meantime, you're prepping all the gags. And for instance, in Back to the Future, like you say, you saw my name on the call sheet every day. It's because I was on the call sheet every day and I had to be on the company every day. And you take Twin Pines Mall, you have to have it all wet down. You have to be able to perform the fire on cue. You have to be able to operate the DeLorean. You have to make it come out of the truck with smoke, make the hinge work perfectly. You have to work with the breakaway photo hut. You've got the trails of fire. You've got the spinning license plate. And that's just one sequence of Back to the Future. So we were on the set every day. We had something going all the time. There's always another gag, the next gag. And you can see that at the high school, you probably don't have any effects. But we did have effects men standing by in case something could happen. And one of the things that we always are responsible for is we always have to bring in our big fans to cool down the actors in the hallway that doesn't have air conditioning. So we actually are there behind the scenes doing something.
Okay. Wow. Incredible to see that there is special effect everywhere. So it's and particularly in this first scene of the movie, which is a scene that I love it so much because this is the
first sequence with all the clocks, synchronized clocks,
and with a slow move and very realistic, and at the same time very strange and bizarre. So it's a mix between an ambience and the plans, which is very well done with the traveling. And yes, it's very interesting to have this sequence. Did you work closely with Dean Cundy for making this sequence, or
to put it? Very much so. Yeah, very much so. Dean and I had worked on other shows together, and he took a fondness to me because I always made sure that everything that was necessary in front of the camera, if they needed smoke, more wet down, I had a good courtesy with the camera crew on all levels, and was well appreciated. And he was responsible for me to take the meeting with Bob and Bob over at Amblin, and from there we got the script and started to realize everything that we had to do. And when you work with Dean, he's a real gentleman. He's very polite. He's very funny. He has a wry sense of humor that's enjoyable to play with. But Bob came up with the idea to tell this story about Doc Brown and really gave you a sense of what was going on and what was going to happen. And Dean put together a camera crew and the rig that could pan across every single part of what was going on the walls and on the counters and to tell the story. So the thing that's important is not so much all the goods that we put on the set, but think about how you feel when you're seeing this scene for the first time and you start to understand the mystery of it. Your mood changes. You're getting involved in the story. You're very interested in where it's going and what the story's about and everything like that. And to do that, he took this fluid camera and moved it all across and then back again. And we, on the other hand, told a story about Doc Brown. Set dressers put all the pictures up there and the history from Doc and the other stories that go on beyond that. And then we were responsible for all the clocks, making them work. Some didn't. Some we had to fix. Some we had to operate manually behind the scenes. They had to be resettable every time, right back to the same number. We had to make the coffee machine drip, the TV come on, and then the toaster pop up. And so the camera was going back and forth. And behind the walls, we had people operating the clocks. And in front, underneath the camera, we had somebody putting in the smoke underneath the toaster. And then somebody warming up the dog food. So it plopped out of the cam on cue when it was supposed to. Aside from the magic, appreciate the scene and the setting and the operation and what that camera move did to tell a story and how you felt really engaged into what was going to happen. You wanted to know more. And that's really the beauty of the shot that Bob and Dean did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what was this scene? We can imagine it was really complicated to do this scene because there is only one sequence fully continuously. So, and you were, as you said, Kevin, many persons at the same time doing several things. Did you do this scene several times finally?
How many times do you think we did that scene?
Only one, because it was yet prepared.
No,
we did it 3 times.
3 times. Okay.
And you have to understand that this is the first time Bob sees it, Dean sees it, we see it, right? So it's almost like practice. And then we have to all have our cues down. We all have to make everything happen in coordination with the camera. Yes. And then you realize that after the dog food plops, that Marty has to open the door, throw the key under the rug so we know where he got it. He comes in with a skateboard, and he has to kick the skateboard all the way across to hit the box of plutonium, which is the other shoe drop of the story. The missing the plutonium is under Doc's bed. Yeah. Oh my gosh. We're already engaged in mystery and action and activity and what's going to happen next. So yeah, sure. You've got that many people working on one shot to coordinate it. And Steven sat right there through every one, and we got it. And it's just as fabulous as it looks today. It was just a joy to pull off because we felt so engaged in the storytelling with our little magic bits in it. And then we had to make sure that Marty hit the box with the skateboard. And that tells the story.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Wow, incredible. Yesterday, Kevin, we received Michael Schaffer, and the designer, and he designed a lot of things for Back to the Future. And he said he worked very closely to you, giving you some sketches or blueprints, etc., to permit your team to work and to build those things. So your team and you, did you work from the blueprints to make the things, or sometimes because there's no blueprints or because you have a lack of time and the designer are not able to give you the definitive sketches, you have to imagine some things from the sketch, but to do it by yourself? How does it work to do this?
Well, nobody on the movie does anything by themselves. Everybody is involved with everybody else all the time. Everybody's got a part. They know what that is. They have to do it well. They have to work well with other people. There's no room for ego or la, and who's the boss or any of that stuff. Here's the job. We've got to do this and get it done.
Co-working.
Right. When Michael Schaffer came on board, it was great because he has a wonderful artistic sensibility and he's very good at coming up ideas on the spot. Yes, we had some sketches from the art department with Andy Probert, of course, and late Ron Cobb, who sadly just passed away. And Michael interpreted those. He helped our crew manufacture the parts that we needed to put on the car or to attach to the car, the parts that needed to help tell the story. So Michael did a bit of shopping and finding and digging and all different places. And oftentimes he'd have to draw a little sketch of what he thought that it would be needed for the mount or how it would work, things like that. But our crew built all the pieces, attached all the pieces, that's their job. And then we had a wonderful group with Bill Klinger and the electronics crew, who's really responsible for the wonderful color, magic, all the lighting, everything that goes into it that everybody likes to recreate these days when they make their own time machine.
Okay. And for example, apart the DeLorean, because you worked a lot on the DeLorean from the beginning to the end to put the DeLorean
to make it real.
To make it real, yeah, on screen, to make it coming from sketch to put it real. Apart the DeLorean, what was the most difficult props to build? Is there anything that which was very difficult to put on the screen to build it or to make it real? Is there something?
It wasn't so much that it was difficult to do, but it was big. And it was kind of like a standalone gag. And that was the speaker gag. And you remember, but what Bob did, and Bob Gale, they wrote a story about this guy that plays rock and roll. And when they go back to the past and he does Johnny Be Good, he's actually inventing rock and roll. So they had to establish that he did rock and roll between the speaker gag and when they played on the stage for Huey Lewis. So we knew that was going to happen. So then it came out like, we want to build a big speaker for Doc Brown's lab. All right. Okay, how big is it going to be? We want to make it like 8 feet by 8 feet. It's like, what? So then you have to break it down. How do we build the speaker? And then we want it to break. We want it to blow up and we want it to explode. Well, where's the actor going to be? Oh, no, he's going to be right in front of it. Oh, and then it blasts everything on the room and it goes back and he goes flying into a bookcase and then that falls down on him and he digs his way out and says far out. Oh, okay. So like nothing, So you have to start with figuring out how to design the speaker and how that is going to get made so that it can do all those tricks that you wanted to. And so first you have to make a mold of the speaker and you make a screed, like a wipe out of aluminum, and you make a big plaster with chicken wire and you run the screed around and you get the shape. And now you're going to spray foam on it. But he wanted the foam to break and make it look like the same color inside when it breaks to show itself so it doesn't look phony like a fake speaker, essentially. So we had to do the chemistry. We had to get the right dye. We had to mix it in without it contaminating the two parts. We blew the speaker. We popped that off. Then we painted it. And then we put flocking on it so it had texture, just like a pool table felt, so to speak. And we had to do all the color on it. Then we had to score the inside. And we had to put Primacord pyrotechnic devices in it so that it would break it. And then we made the big magnet on a piston, an air cylinder that fired. And then we mounted it in the cabinet. And then we put the knobs on it. And then Bob Gale says, we need more knobs on it because we're really going to build up the sound. And if you listen to it and you listen to what the sound department did, they're really genius in how what you talk about in Spinal Tap of going to 11. Well, they just did it with sound, and every knob got more and more and more. How far can it go? It's just amazing if you just listen to the shot. So then you have to work out where the Marty stunt person is going to be, how they're going to get motivated back with the stunt team on an air platform. And then you have all the sparks and the knobs that go off with it. You have up on top, you have big air movers. They're like air cannons, and they can blow all the paperwork around. They're all loaded up. On the tables, we had cable wipes that go all the way across the table when you release them with spring and bungee, and they help move everything in the direction that the speaker would be doing, because the speaker's not going to do anything. It's just a piece of foam, and it's our job to give all those extra pieces to it. And then we have to launch Marty into the air, and he has to land comfortably, safely. The stuntman goes out. We put in Marty, and we bury him again in the bookcase that fell, and that's the end of the shot. So that one piece is dedicated to just itself. And although it was there was nothing wrong and there's no problems, it wasn't so big that we couldn't do it. It was just like one fun gag all by itself, the giant speaker gag. And it holds up today. And it just, okay, so why did the speaker blow up? Oh, well, it had too much power. So this is all about Doc Brown and things having too much power and well, what can we trust? What can we do safely? And so that leads to just more adventure in the story. And it's just the right place for it. And it was a wonderful gag to pull off for Bob. And he was extremely happy on the day when it went well. I can tell you that.
And doing the thing that I agree, you have to do the things safely. So building things and thinking of doing that safely, it's another challenge. So someone put a question that you're wearing a beautiful beret. Where is it coming from? you seem like a friend.
Well, I happen to be in Paris right now.
Okay, that's the reason.
Paris Mountain Club. No, I actually got this hat, this beret, when we were on the boulevard, right near where you came to meet us that one time at the Hotel Basel. And on that boulevard, they have some kind of Saturday swap meet, yard sale. And I was walking along and I saw the beret and I put it on as a joke. And the guy said, no, you wear it like this, you do this, blah, blah, blah. And he started putting and so I said, okay, when in Paris. And so I got, it must have cost $5 or something. And the next table, of course, I went down and I saw a camera and I picked up the camera and I said, gee, this looks like the camera that was in Back to the Future. And I don't know if you can see it. I have it right here. And Mitch was kind enough to help me with a couple of pieces that we needed to complete the project. But I went and I sat down and I had a beer at a cafe right there. And I was watching the table and watching the camera. And I put it on my phone. I said, is this the same camera that was in? And everybody, my phone exploded. Everybody said, go get that camera, get that camera, get that camera. And I got up from what I was doing on the corner and I walked over and I said, okay, I'll get it. And it was just about someone else is going to pick it up. So I've got it and very lucky. And Mitch was very wonderful about getting it to me and getting the other pieces for it. And I proudly own another, and it's in French. All the buttons are in French. And it's PAL. It's not NTSC. So you have to have a PAL TV to play stuff on it. But
you're the only one in America to have the French version of the camera.
Maybe, maybe. I'm probably not the one with the hat, but I wear the hat when it gets cold up here, Mitch. I'm in the mountains. And so it started to get cold last night, and I actually pulled it off when we didn't have any heat, we didn't have power, we didn't have anything. So
we're starting autumn. So now we will have a look at some of the hits. Some of the hits you have done in which you work, because you're so talented and you made a lot of movies and it's incredible. So I want to share some hits with all the people which are singers. So what happened? I don't know. We try to special effects. So I will try to share the way up. This one up. So is it? Yes, I think perfect. It's better like that. So Kevin, are you able to see the screen? Yeah,
I can see the screen.
Okay, so here's some of the hits on which you have done an incredible work. So
so many.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. You started with Joe with Joe, Twilight, Return of Jedi, Starfighter, and up. Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, of course. Some others up. Let's see. Where is the mouse? This way. La Bamba, Moonwalker. I love this movie. Moonwalker, of course, and Michael Jackson. Hook, Jurassic Park, Ed Wood, Fight Club, and many, many more. So here are some of the hits on which you have done special effects, and you have worked on many of those movies. So you have an incredible career, and they're all different. You have explored a lot of movies, very different. So, for example, I imagine that special effects were not the same in La Bamba or Pike Club or Jurassic Park. So, as you said, there's a lot of to do special effects. And Back to the Future, we talk about technicals like in Jurassic Park, I presume, because it's very. But for example, in La Bamba or which is the one?
Fight Club.
Fight Club, yeah. Special effects could be different, no? Or
yes,
is it the
yes,
same?
yes. No, it's different because it's a different style of movie. Yeah. There's a different story that has a different challenge, and it's usually associated with an effect in order for it to be resolved. And you take some shows, they're very, very simple, but the work for the scene has to be done as well as it can be. If you remember La Bamba, he died in a plane crash, and he died in a plane crash because of the snow buildup on the wing of the plane with other gentlemen, and Eddie Cochran and Big Bopper. And so you start with the stage. Okay, what's the effect in the stage? Well, you have to smoke it in. Well, where is it? What audience? How big? How much atmosphere? How long? How many days will we be there? Do we need machines in every corner and on top? So you don't know. You have to learn. You have to figure it out. You have to do your craft and do it well. No, too much smoke. No, you have to make it just right. Now they come out of the theater. It was snowing the whole time. So they come out on fresh snow. Okay, so you lay it down. How big's the shot? Okay, are you going to see all the way back to the other mountain? Yeah, well, we can cheat and do ABC. So the guys come out and they have to walk down the snow. So you need to have the right snow. You don't have to have flake snow. You don't have to have rice husk snow. But what you need ice. You need chopped ice. So you have to bring in the big machines and chopped ice and put down a path so they can walk on it. Okay, take two. Now what do? Now you have to do everything all over again. So when you watch the movie, you have no idea the work that went in to do one shot of the guys coming out of the it's crazy. And then, of course, the plane crashed, and then they had some scenes to go with that. And there was just a lot of atmosphere, smoke in the campfire area when they're out at the farm. There's just a lot of little elemental additions that helped to tell the story and gave the feel that you needed to something like that. You take Fight Club. There's just so much in that. David wants so much detail and so much perfection in every single shot. If you think of, when they went to the fat farm and they got the fat and they tear the bag and it drips around and they have to get away. He shoots a lot of takes, so you have to be prepared. And props had to have bag after bag after bag of the stuff. We had to clean it up each time in between. It's just an amazing process working for David because he's so determined to get it as right as he wants it. And he's, I wouldn't say impatient. I think he's efficient in knowing what he wants and to get people to recycle right away. And it has to be done right. And there's thousands of gags in Fight Club that don't look like a gag. They're just part of the story. So the story is so beautiful and so beautifully done that you just end up with forgetting about all the little bits and pieces that went into making it look natural in its setting, for instance, with smoke or whatever. And it's the drips in the paper mill house. Well, where did they come from? Well, we rigged every single one of those to hook up on a valve, on a button, because David might say, I want that one and that one and that one and that one, but I don't want that one. Okay. Because it throws off the balance of his shot. So you're manipulating raindrops inside a house, as an example. And you never know what he's going to enhance in some way. But it's nice to do it because he has the right idea. And it's very artful. And say that you are contributing to that achievement is a wonderful relationship to have with a director. Very much enjoyed Fight Club.
A question, Kevin, for you. There was perhaps one movie that was more challenging than the others, or not? Each movie was challenging new things for you, or one especially was very challenging, very special?
Well, it's probably easy to answer. obviously there's a lot of work in Back to the Future, and it was challenging because in the beginning of the movie, it had a very restrictive budget, especially coming to the special effects. The unit manager kept me from spending to keep Bob from expanding. And every time Bob wanted something and I would go, the producer would say no, and I'd have to go back. And it was always very difficult for me on the financial budget side to do the beginning of Back to the Future until they made some changes. And after that, it was very nice and everything went very, very well. But there was a lot of work on that. But as far as the challenge for me personally, it was when I got my first big show. I had worked on Twilight Zone, and I'd worked with a guy named Mike Wood, sadly passed on now. But he was a wonderful guy to work for, and I learned a lot, and I did several projects with him. And one of the things that we did on Twilight Zone was the Nightmare at 20,000 Feet episode with George. George. He directed all the Mad Max series. George Miller. And so he was a wonderful gentleman to work with, nicest guy you ever want to work for. And we did that big show. And then I went on to do Steven's episode, which was just a little about old people that go out at night and become young again. And we just had atmosphere and smoke and wind in the trees and a couple little props and things that had to be done. But I had gone to the grocery store one evening to get something. And in the grocery store was the art director, Jim Bissell, who I'd worked for with the Twilight Zone work. And he had mentioned that there was a show starting over at Lorimar, and I should go over and talk to the Veep and put my name in. And I followed the queue and I went in, and thanks to him, I ended up doing, at that time, the biggest show in my career. And it was big, and there was a lot of work, and it was a real challenge for me. And I got through it, and I learned a lot, and I'm very proud of it. And I'm very proud of the way that they did the movie with the miniatures and Ron Cobb on the computer. We built a big round chair that actually worked left, right, and center. It was baptism by fire, but we got it done. And it's just the sweetest story, because if I had $1 for every time somebody said about Jonathan Betchwell's story, The Last Starfighter, I'd be really wealthy, because everybody loves that movie. And it was baptism by fire. Like I said, I learned as we went along, and it was tough some days and some nights worrying about it, but we got through it, and it really holds up now. And they're coming out with 4K with a commentary track on it from me, and I'm pretty happy.
So nice. So cool. Excellent.
So, Kevin, you have worked with a lot of people, of course, and a lot of Hollywood celebs. And you work particularly in Moonwalker with Michael Jackson. So was your relation closed, or how was it to work with him on this movie?
Well, it's really hard to explain how close it was, but it sounds so much like fantasy. He called me up and asked me to come to his house for breakfast, because he was very fond of Back to the Future. He loved that idea. And he also invited Ron Howard, because he loved Cocoon, and he had done Splash just before that. So we went up to his house and we had a meeting with him, and he had some ideas that he wanted to do, and he wanted to know if we wanted to be involved. Sadly, Ron had some obligations with his family, and had done 2 shows back to back and politely declined. And I went ahead and continued to work with Michael on the idea. And one of the things that got stuck in his mind was he wanted to be able to get an award if he could make a movie. And so he felt that it'd be a good idea just to make a short film and see if he could make something really good, much along the lines that we did with Thriller. Thriller was just the long version of a music video. So he wanted to turn something into a film, and he started with some ideas. And I used to go over to his house on a regular basis, 2 or 3 times a week. And then we'd watch movies on Saturday in his studio. He's got a beautiful projection room, and kept roughing out his ideas about him transforming from something to something. And it was going to be all different things. And it finally settled on a car. And we worked through pictures of cars, and he finally found one that he liked. And he said, this is the one I think that, most of the young kids would really love, this sleek look. And okay, let's get it. And we looked for it, and it only happened to be one, and it was in Torino, Italy. with Bertoni Factory, and I called them up until I could find it. You know, I only had an emblem on the car, and so I called Lancia and everybody, and I finally got a hold of the Bertoni Factory, and they said, "Yeah, we got it. That's a one-of-a-kind car. It was for an art show in Milano in 1970." And I said, "Well, we want to use it in our videos for Michael Jackson." "Oh, no, they can't do that. They blah, blah, blah." There's a lot of red tape involved. And so I said, "Well, I will give you a nice credit in the movie." And I wrote the credit and I sent it to him by fax back. This was 86.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, they said, "Okay, you got to do this, 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 and this." And first of all, we had to get insurance for the car. It was a $600,000 automobile because there was only one of them. And they wouldn't let us mold it. They wouldn't even let us put a cover on it to hide it when it went to the airport. And I had to take all the pictures of all the air pallets, and it was just it was really difficult. But we got him the car and he loved it. So we couldn't mold it, but we erected a similar buck next to it and made the car. And that was a big part of the contribution, along with all the other parts. Famous for the leaning gag. Everybody still tries to figure out how that was done, who did it, whatever, right? Wardrobe came to us with this shoe idea. Michael came to us with the idea that he wanted to put in there. Vince Patterson, the choreographer, was putting the other gentlemen in and figuring out just all the steps and everything and how we could work it out. And we said, well, the only way they can lean that far is if we could get them to lock on a pin on the stage and put them on wires so that they could lean down, which is what we did. But my contribution was the fact that just lock one foot. Don't lock both feet. That way they can dance and then step into it and give more animation and more life to the shot. And then we had 5 guys on the thing. I had Michael, and as soon as we were ready to go, we let him down and we pulled him back up. And we had the music blaring, and all the other dancers. We probably did that 4 or 5 times, and everything went well and safe. And it's breathtaking. And people say, "Wait, well, how does that work?" My relationship with Michael was very close, and naturally, I was earth shaken when he had passed on. I was warmly received by him. He trusted me. He would call me all the time in the middle of the night with a new idea. It was just fun to have a relationship with somebody that was such a free thinker and had the ability to do whatever he could dream up. And I was glad to have helped him.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Thank you.
What a story.
Lot of emotion. Yeah. Lot of emotion. I have seen a question. Yesterday with Michael Schaeffer, we spoke a little about the brainwave analyzer, and I have seen a question is from Jan Robinson. Hi, Kevin. How was the brain
Hi, how are you?
To build? So, how was the brain analyzer to build? So, it was...
we got some drawings of the brain analyzer, and I'm not sure your question.
How was the brain analyzer to build? So I think he wanted to know if it was difficult or easy, or was it a base from sketches of blueprints that Michael Schaeffer did? I don't know.
We came with sketches from the art department on that. Todd Hollowell was the art director, and he was pretty good about making sure that some of these dedicated props were always there. Like the big clock tower. He was the one that brought me the Krups coffee maker as an idea to start for the Mr. Fusion, things like that. Michael was very good about taking the rough idea that we were given and doing the finite drawings, the working drawings per se. And that was obviously a bunch of little pieces on a layout that was made and then duplicated. Our foreman, Dave Wishneck, who had a big hand in a lot of the prop building in Back to the Future, interpreted that and made that. And then Bill Klinger in the electronics group, put in all the colored lights and everything on it. And we made it. And we put the very simple Jacob's ladder in there to give it some texture and some busyness. And we showed it to Bob, and Bob loved it. And then he said, well, Doc Brown's up here, and this is only this high. So we need to make the machine higher. You need to build some more stuff on it. And all we did was we just cut it off on the bottom. We put it up, and we put a big toolbox on the bottom, and we got by with getting it as high as Doc Brown. It was a funny gag and it worked. I had it in my office for a long time before they took it for 2 and 3. But it was a fun prop, and you see some pictures of me with it on my head standing there while they're doing photo study of the car for the Drew Struzan beautiful movie poster. It was a funny gag. Everybody liked it. We had a little tricky trying to get it to stick on Michael's forehead, but we put another suction cup inside the suction cup, and it was strong enough with a little spirit gum to stick to him. But there it is. And that's my shop. That's the first picture that was professionally taken of the DeLorean time machine. That's the first picture ever taken.
Oh, yeah.
We were not allowed to take pictures, but they called me up one night and they said, "Are you going to be there for a while? We're going to send a photographer over to do a photo study to get the artwork for Drew Struzan's art piece for the poster." I said, "Great, I'll stick around." And you can see it kind of got dark, so they threw some lights on there. And it was just myself and the photographer. And I'm very sorry I don't remember his name. And I just thought that it was funny to see the helmet here. I threw it on my head and pretended like I was thinking up some brilliant idea, making a joke. And that is the very first picture of the DeLorean time machine.
Wow.
Wonderful.
So it was inside the garage.
In Doc's garage, no?
Or
this was my shop. This was my shop. I had an office. We had a big parking lot, and then we had the shop. We had electronics room. We had makeup lab upstairs. We had all the equipment, and we made the car there. But it was very strict when they told me that I was going to build a car. They were very cautious about anybody taking any pictures. Steven's very, very private about that. And when somebody took a picture of the shark when we were on Jaws, it was in a magazine, he was not happy. And then apparently he had gone over to take a look at the ET and felt that apparently it was rather exposed, and turned around and had another way of getting that completed. So they told me when we build a car, nobody takes pictures. And we didn't really have cameras. Now you guys have phones that take whole movies, you know.
Yeah.
We only had little cameras with little flash cubes on them. And if anybody took a picture and it flashed, you know, they'd hear from me right away, you know, no more. That's it. Don't do that. And so that is why there are not a lot of pictures of the DeLorean time machine in its build, because it was a known factor that it's going to be a big secret. And sure enough, it was. And this is the first picture that was ever published. That.
Okay. Wow.
It was a Polaroid. It was a Polaroid, I guess, that he gave me. You know, when he was doing, he said, "Here, this is, you know." I don't know. It's just, and that was that. There it is.
Oh,
to this day.
The first picture of the movie. The
so cool.
and yeah, about talking about the DeLorean. What's your thought now, having all of those replica time machine all over the world and inspired of the work?
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Both of you guys were with me, Mitch and Emmett. We were, you know, on the river, Bateau Mouche, going by, and we had Jeffrey Dragata's car, and then we had Oliver Freydin's car, and you know, it's amazing how many French fans I have, and the car has, and you know, I recently went over to Germany with my friend Joseph Hess, and we built a custom car for Victor Dergonde that's in Bretagne, and now he has one of the most exact builds. I supervised it every day to make sure that everything was as close as it can. We're not making a car for the movie. We're oftentimes making a car for operation or for the look or to drive. And it's always a little bit of a challenge to make compromise from what it was in the movie to be what it has to be to drive. Do you want to take the back window or no? You want to do this? You want neon on it? Because they'll break. And no, it would do LEDs. And so they all have a little bit of their own personality to them. But we built a very nice one for Victor, and he's got a lovely car up there in northern France area that I can't wait to get over there and see him again. We're working on a wonderful story. He's a brilliant author, and he's written some good stories on time travel, and we're trying to make it into a feature-length script for him. But he has a wonderful car. I was there, and
thank you very much.
really one of the best replicas.
Okay, so now another question, but this time about it's about. I know it's a little joke, but I'm sure you will know the answer. So up, let's try to answer this question, Kevin. What's the rule number 9 in Fight Club? I'm sure you know that because I think you invented this rule. What's the rule number 9?
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know. I only know number 1, and so you can't talk about it. But I always said that if you worked on it, then you could talk about it.
Exactly. This is the rule.
And then I got a little sign, a gift sign from David at the end of the show, and everybody got a rule with a picture of the bar of soap. I have it somewhere. I think, Mitch, you saw it when you came here. I thought it was rule number 4, no shirts, no shoes. I don't know the order of the numbers, and I'm sorry I don't know the number 9. If it's some joke, I don't know it. It was kind of interesting about you can't talk about Fight Club. I mean, that's the biggest secret of the whole movie. These guys fight underground in these underground cellars and garages, and they work as waiters and office people, but you can't talk about it. I thought that was the greatest idea for story. I loved that story. I loved being a part of that movie. I loved working for David. Brad was great. Edward was great. And help me out.
Adventure. What a great movie.
Yeah, just fabulous.
It was the right answer. It was, if you have worked on Fight Club, you could speak about Fight Club, of course. And
I think that's a good rule. And the lady is Helena Bonham Carter. She was just fabulous in the movie, and she was fabulous to work with. And we had a lot of gags with her, and she was very precise about making sure that our work with her was exact as she wanted. She had input, and we respected that input, and we tried to make that set was just, enormous tension, very busy, lots going on, and everything had to work perfectly. And she knew her situation, and if we had any interaction from a gag with her, she was very careful to make sure that we did our job as good as she's doing her job. And it was nice to have that kind of rapport that an actor would consider what you were doing with her. That was very lovely.
I have, I think, a special comment for you, Kevin, from our friend Jordan Semper. He wrote,
I know him.
The photo is sublime. Let's talk about that. Oh yeah.
Yes, the painting.
I've seen his painting. It's just behind you. And how many awards, how many trophies, how many photos you have behind you. Wow, it's incredible.
You have been here. You have been here.
But each time I saw your room, it's, oh, wow. I'm disappointed. There are a lot everywhere.
And there's more downstairs, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. I still get involved in things. I got to be honest with you. I just did a little something with Chris Lloyd the past couple of weeks. We were on the set yesterday shooting together, and we got some great pictures, but I can't show them to you. And on it goes. Back to the Future just keeps going and going and going. When we did Back to the Future, we made the movie and we were done. Oh, no, you're going to go do the advertising agency for the trailer, the teaser. We kicks the tire in the door, and how far you're going, and the lights and the reflection and the smoke and the car and the flames. And so we did that.
Yeah, you made the
now you got to take it up to ILM. They have to do all the shots. Okay, we'll take it up there. Okay, now you're going to take it to San Francisco. Do Huey Lewis and the News music video. Okay, all right, we'll do that. Okay, now we got to do a commercial where it turns in from a spinning license plate to a VHS video box on the release of the video. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, now we're going to have to bring it up to Universal Studios Hollywood and stage it with the big backdrop from Hill Valley and Lions and and put the rope around it so the people don't get near it. Well, of course, they always got near it. So we'd get a call. Hey, we have some neon that's broken and it's kind of tingling the body of the car. So we got to fix that for the spectator. Okay, what number? C19. And we get the pieces and we go up there and we change it. I mean, it was always more. Back to the Future never ended. And then it came out and became popular. And look where we are.
What was that?
I met you because of Back to the Future. I woke up one day, I came down to the lobby of the Hotel Basile, and there you guys are. And you have a complete diorama on a table. And I go, where am I? And then you pop up, and you got all the guys there. And we drove around the cars, and we had a great time. And look, we're still talking. And you've been a guest at my house because, I love the fans. And the French fans, for some reason, they are just so dedicated, and it's enjoyable to constantly get involved with them. And of course, what happened was the artist George Semper ended up making a wonderful homage, and you guys set it up that we had dinner New Year's in Paris, 18, right? And and you helped set me up with the hotel, and then Jeffrey and Laura took me to the restaurant, and it was an American Grill. And then all of a sudden Jordan pops up and he goes, I have something for you. And it really brought me to my knees. It brought tears to my eyes. He did such a good job. I know, Mitch, you had a hand in it because you were taking pictures of the posters here. And but what he did, the way he did it, and the way he touched on everything, and the little kiss on the cufflink to Dean Cundy was charming. But there's the big ones that I've done, and it's wonderful how he put it all together. And
the result was awesome.
It's perfect, and I'm in his stead. He's just a wonderful artist, and he's the nicest man you ever want to talk to. And he was very responsible in bringing it to me stateside, and now I proudly have it on my wall.
Thank you for the homage for Jordan Semper. He did a great job.
Wonderful artist.
A wonderful friend, a wonderful artist.
And friends, for sure.
And it's perhaps a good thing to make the link with the auction we have, because we will start an auction for Team Fox. I know you're involved in Team Fox also with us, Kevin, and we have made a special auction on this event, which is 11 days long, putting in auction a Robert Zemeckis portrait for auction Jordan made. And unfortunately, Robert was not able to bring it with him. So
very nice.
We decided to put it in auction for the Team Fox. So, guys, what do you think? A great homage.
Wonderful.
It is great. And it's a good look, too. I mean, it's not what you normally think of from the pictures of Bob or from working on Bob, but he looks great here. And the almanac is... just so thought about all the time. It's iconic to the movie too, and it shows the future forethought that they had when they were going into those movies. And I think I love the size. I love the framing. It's really good, and it's something that you don't see of Bob looking like that often. So it's really fun.
Sure. So for everyone, guys, if you are interested about it, the auction will start tomorrow. And until the 21, when we will receive Bob
the Back to the Future Day.
The Back to the Future Day, yes. And we'll end the auction. So be generous. Put some bids.
I am telling everybody, and fans and friends alike, I've had some wonderful opportunities to help out Team Fox. We went on a cruise set up by Jeffrey Wiseman, and we had some wonderful members, Harry Waters, and Mark McClure, and Jeffrey, and Dean Cundy, and Dom Fullilove. And we had a wonderful, but we had an auction, and I brought a lot of my material. It was a Star Trek cruise with Back to the Future. So I brought everything that I had from Star Trek. I had a relationship with one of the merchandisers, and we ended up with a bunch of trinkets, and I brought them, and they sold like hotcakes. So, and all for a good cause. I've known Michael since he first came on the set, and he asked me to do another show that he was going to write and produce for ABC at a time, and we worked on that for a bit. If there's ever a guy that is loving and giving, it's Michael J. Fox. All you have to do is work with him on the set. So I'm asking everyone to contribute to the best of their ability and get yourself some of the props, get some of the great gifts that Mitch and Emmett have put together. And now's a good time because everything is, life is short. You realize that the world's upside down. So anything you can do now is always worthwhile in the long run.
Michael Schiffer said the same thing yesterday.
Yes, the same message.
The same message to us. And I agree. Life is short and we have to try to do our best during the life. And for that reason, I'm involved in the cause since years and years. And as you said,
yes, very dedicated, very respectful for your contribution, Mitch. Very much.
I always appreciate people like you, Kevin, like Michael Schiffer, like Doc, like all the fans and friends to be generous and to be with us.
Well, generous. You came to my house. I opened my doors. We went through every single piece of paper, every single picture. You made movies.
I remember.
We did question and answers. You went into my vaults downstairs and you tore apart every single folder and flyer. And anything I can do, me. Anything I can do to help out and be friendly, I enjoy that very much.
Sure.
And you are a friend.
I'm very happy. We're very happy to have you tonight.
Thank you.
For sure. Thank you.
It's
my pleasure.
Thank you. And we will end with this little image. Of course, the thanks of the 88 Mapper Association. And as you could note, we're starting to begin more and more international.
Yeah.
We have some branch now.
You are.
One in Spain, in USA, etc.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy. A lot of people join us. To help
all
us
over the world
to raise funds for our pal Michael. It's important.
US, UK too.
We're very happy. So
just remember, hard work pays off.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The good things to end the
okay,
day.
guys, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you to all the fans out there. Hi to all my French friends that I have a chance to associate with. So
you improve your French day after day, and I think in 1 month your French will be better than my English. I told you everything, but I'm sure.
Well, you fix the world so we can turn it right side up again, Mitch, and we'll all be together. Okay, down at the Bateau Mouche, and we do all the fun with the cars. Okay.
So thank you, Kevin.
Thank you,
guys. Thank you.
I know you're very busy. Thanks for giving us
all for the time you gave
this
to
interview.
us.
I'm happy we could pull it off today, despite the power loss.
Thank you very much.
Stay safe.
And see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
It was incredible. Yeah, we receiving Kevin Pike today. He's very busy. He made a lot of things in a lot of movies.
Another great guest who made us a great honor to be there with us, and for the great cause.
A generous person. Thank you, Kevin. A generous person, and he made a lot. He made a lot for the movie. As I said, every scene has SFX inside. Yeah. And having him explaining us the situation that SFX is not only green screen and blue screen, etc., but also to build the things and and to make them possible.
We made an SFX
but real in
at
the
home.
movie. It's incredible. Yeah, you have done such a good work in a lot of movies. So
we have to say that the guests that are with us during this week, during this event, are people we do not see very frequently. That's also very important, and it's an honor for us to receive them. And but also we want with this event show you backers, time travelers, friends from Back to the Future, that all these persons were absolutely, first of all, they are very, very talented, each one. But as Michael Schiffer said yesterday, we can see that there was a very closely contribution. All together worked really
like
hand
in a
in
little
hand.
family, you know?
Yeah,
like a little
absolutely,
family,
like a
working on the
little
movie.
family, and
Of course,
that's for sure why the trilogy is
one of the best of the trilogy.
Yeah,
you're
not one of the best,
the best one. Of course. Yeah,
but but also because it's still fresh, because we can feel that there was a lot of passion. They were all working all together, and
a lot of fun, a lot of fun,
and that's why we are always in fun with this trilogy.
Yeah. Yesterday we said that it was hard to work on because people like Kevin Park, for example, starting from even before the beginning of the movie, because before he had to make the things for the first day of the shoot. So he started his work before and probably he ended his work after the movie. So all the crew members, all the teams working on the movie have made a work very hard, a lot of hours per day. But at the same time, I think they really enjoyed to shoot the movie, and the fun that they have had during the set, it's the fun that people have watching the TV and watching the movie on TV and theater. So,
do you remember what Kevin said to us 2 years ago? He said, SFX, in fact, a good movie is when you don't see where the SFX are. Exactly. And it's absolutely that.
Is there because special effects there or no?
Each sequence, but finally it's so...
if it's well done,
it's well done, so you don't notice it. And
is it an SFX?
Yes, it's one, but it's
an electric
good made.
Electric.
Okay.
So we are near the 9 o'clock and near the end of the show. We have passed the hour of the auction, so I don't know the winner. Probably one of the bidders.
Communicate on that after.
Tomorrow. One of the bidders at 8 o'clock will win the bid. And for all the people who have made the bid, you could continue
if you donate some money to Team Fox, you can win some money, perhaps, but not the same one.
It's money coming from the friction block.
Yeah.
So here you have the link. Just there. You have the link to make donation to the up here. Social distance.
Distance. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. And all donation is important. And if you give donation, as Doug said, you will have, I'll show you again, a copy of the Lawrence scene storyboard.
Mm-hmm. Nice stickers, radioactivity.
Nice stickers, some visit card made by our friend Pedro. Yeah. Pedro in Spain. He joined us in Team Fox. And they have made those goodies for you.
For the most generous. Also the
Costco flyer. Yeah. And for the bid, which is the highest, and for the more generous, you could win the Clara
perfect replica of
the exact
Clara's
replica of Clara's brooch. This is for the highest bid, highest donation in their Team Fox.
Yes.
So now we just end with 1 minute trying to see the work of our friend Pedro's from ATM Power Association in Spain. So now let's see the
Finally,
yes.
we can say who made the best offer for.
We have the name of the winner.
We have the name of the winner.
And if you have the name of the winner, Doc, could you announce the winner?
The winner of the
emblem, Polysil Valley emblem.
Of this wonderful emblem.
Yeah, I remember it's not a screen used one; it's a production used.
Yeah. But this so beautiful emblem.
Yes.
Finally, will stay in France.
He's France,
okay.
so.
He will goes to Eric, our friend Eric
Dacosta.
So we are very, very happy for you, Eric. Wonderful.
Well done, Eric. Well done, because it's a great piece of history. As you know, it's a production man. I know you love a lot production, like me, production and behind the scenes items. So it's very cool. And as all of my things, a certificate of authenticity. This one is coming from Screen News, others from Pop Source, others from me directly, but all things here are or screen or production and came directly from the set of Back to the Future.
A wonderful part of history from Back to the Future. So once more, well done, Eric. We are very happy for you. Bravo. And thanks for Team Fox.
Exactly. Thanks for Team Fox, Eric. And we will end with showing the tips of the day. So the tips today is
Pedro's tips.
Pedro's tips. So inform us that the script was rejected more than 40 times by the major producers. Yeah. Disney, Columbia, Twister, a lot of...
You know why Disney?
Yeah, because of the
sequence between Lorraine and Marty.
It doesn't work for image in Disney. So no, we don't want it. But after I know that they have a lot of free
yes,
and of course now, Doc, we will see the other one, which is I think tips and tricks. So from up from Pedro, we will make the display.
Oh, what happens? It seems that in the same sequence, someone ate the bonbons.
No, who's the guy who ate?
Who's the guy who ate that?
So as you could notice, because we have made the difference between the planes,
perhaps Bob,
someone from the crew between two shoot. Oh, give me some candies from there. Pop.
Yes.
And in the second shoot, you could notice that there are less candies in the bottles. So we have to ask Dangerous Bob in a few days.
Perhaps he knows.
If he was
our favorite prop master,
all of the candies. So now, Doc, we will end with one more information.
Yeah,
that is very important because we have put the name exactly of the bid of yesterday, but now we'll start also with Jordan Semper's portrait of Robert Zemeckis, which is a bid which will let 4 or 5 days or even to the end of the event, the 21. We will launch also the daily bid, so it will end tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And today it's concerning
starting now
with some paperworks coming from the personal archives room of John DeLorean. So those paperworks are coming directly from the office of John DeLorean, and you have a lot of pieces really cool with some handwritten notes, signature of John DeLorean, etc., invoices from DMC, for example. This one is and the date.
I don't know if we can see clearly.
Yes, it's perhaps dated aged from a lot of years.
There are a lot of things.
Those paperworks coming from John DeLorean are for bid with a starting price at 150 euros. So ridiculous. For all those pieces of history from DMC, and particularly 150, 150 euros only. So, as always, be generous. Don't be shy to bid on this auction because it's for a great cause. It's not only for the auction and to have the document, but it's also a way to contribute to the Team Fox and to make donation to the Team Fox. So it's very important. This is the main goal of the event, of course. So thank you, guys. I was very happy to have as an inviter today Kevin Pike, which is a wonderful great friend of mine, and I'm since years and years, and he's always involved in Back to the Future franchise, but also in many movies. And it's really, each time we talk, it's really a great pleasure. So I hope that you enjoyed the interview as we enjoyed here in France with my friend Doc. And it was not all long for Back to the Future, but he had made so many movies. So It's
in any case,
interesting.
very, very interesting
to have his point of view from different movies, particularly Moonwalker and Fight Club, on which he did some amazing
He
work.
worked with so many people that are
With
the
a lot of
legends.
directors,
So,
like you said,
yeah.
Fincher, Spielberg, Lucas,
Absolutely.
a lot of great guys. The two Hollywood. Like
The
you
two
said.
Hollywood, the best
So-
Hollywood. But do not forget, after this guest,
We will
tomorrow we will have not one guest, but two. Vous êtes gâtés. Demain, nous aurons deux invités.
Is it tomorrow that I have to check the
I
planning?
think it's tomorrow. Yeah,
wow,
I'm
tomorrow.
right.
It's incredible.
Tomorrow we will receive two designers, two fantastic designers, and we have to say that we are very, very pleased to receive them in our event because they are not people you will see
In any
everywhere,
convention, no,
but they have done a great job on the trilogy.
Yeah.
They are costume and art designers. They are Joanna Johnson and
John Bell,
and they worked especially on Back to the Future Part 2 and Part 3.
Exactly.
So,
and
be sure it will be absolutely incredible, amazing.
Tomorrow it's a special day because Joanna and John work very closely together to make all the things work on Back to the Future, particularly too. John designs the things, Joanna was the costume designer, and she kept the design, she improved some designs to build the costumes with a lot of details. So they work very closely together, Joanna and John Bell, and they are people that you cannot meet on a meeting or convention. Joanna is still working a lot with a lot of movies, winning a lot of awards for the movies she made because she has an incredible
She's one of the most famous costume designers in Hollywood.
Yes,
really.
She worked very close with Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg, when he had it to do and he thinks about some costumes, he called Joanna Johnson. So tomorrow, we are very proud to have, I think for the first time in France, an interview from John Bell and Joanna Johnson.
Yes.
And it will be, I'm sure, very interesting. We have some questions. You will learn a lot from your movie franchise, particularly Part 2 and 3. And they have done, as Doc said, an incredible work. So tomorrow
you have to put Marty McFly's vest
jacket
from 2015.
I will, Doc. If you come in, Doc, I will come in Marty.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes, exactly. So see you tomorrow, guys.
See you
tomorrow. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed.
Don't forget the donation. Tomorrow we will set the name of the winners, of course, of the Clara's brush, the I bid. Allez, I let 5 minutes more to put some bids on the 80 My Power Association Team Fox account. 5 minutes more. Be generous and see you tomorrow.
And see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye, guys. It was a
Bye-bye.
pleasure. Ciao.